A Hollywood battle just reached a turning point, and the consequences are massive. Justin Baldoni, the director and star of It Ends With Us, just suffered a crushing defeat in his legal war against Blake Lively. His $400 million lawsuit, the one he claimed would expose the truth, has been officially terminated by a federal judge. The courtroom door just slammed shut, and Baldoni's fighting back might have just backfired in the worst possible way. This all started nearly a year ago, when Blake Lively dropped a bombshell that would shake Hollywood to its core. In December 2024, she filed a complaint that detailed disturbing allegations about what really went down on the set of It Ends With Us. According to her legal team, Baldoni didn't just cross professional boundaries, he allegedly shattered them. The complaint painted a picture of a toxic work environment where Blake claims she was subjected to repeated harassment that left her emotionally devastated. The specifics were shocking. Blake alleged that Baldoni and producer Jamie Heath showed her explicit videos and images without her consent, that they openly discussed their supposed addictions to adult content, and that Baldoni made invasive comments about her body and weight. She claimed he brought up her deceased father in inappropriate conversations and asked questions that had no place in a professional setting. But it didn't stop there. During filming, Blake says Baldoni improvised physical contact that was never discussed or choreographed, kissing her forehead, dragging his lips down her neck, all while cameras rolled and no intimacy coordinator was present. The situation got so bad that an emergency meeting had to be called. Blake brought Ryan Reynolds as her representative, and everyone sat down to address what she described as a work environment that had nearly derailed the entire production. They laid out boundaries that should have been obvious from day one. No more explicit discussions. No more inappropriate commentary about her body. No more unscripted, intimate moments. Everyone agreed, or so it seemed. But Baldoni wasn't about to let these accusations stand. In January 2025, he came out swinging with a countersuit that sought a staggering $400 million in damages. His legal team accused Blake of orchestrating an elaborate scheme to destroy his reputation and steal creative control of the film. They claimed she was working with Ryan Reynolds and their publicist to spread malicious lies, painting Baldoni as a predator, when, according to him, he was the real victim. His lawsuit targeted not just Blake, but also Reynolds, their publicist Leslie Sloan, and even the New York Times for publishing an exposé about the alleged smear campaign against Blake. Baldoni's team didn't just file paperwork. They went on the offensive. They released raw footage from the set, a 10-minute video showing Blake and Baldoni filming a slow dance scene. In the clip, you can see them talking, joking, appearing comfortable. Baldoni's lawyers pointed to this as proof that Blake's allegations were fabricated, but her legal team fired back immediately, saying the footage actually proved their point, showing Baldoni leaning in inappropriately, commenting on how she smelled, getting physically close without consent or coordination. What Baldoni thought would clear his name only seemed to dig the hole deeper. Behind all of this was something even more sinister. Blake's lawsuit included screenshots of text messages between Baldoni's crisis PR team that seemed to reveal a coordinated campaign to destroy her reputation. Melissa Nathan, a crisis management expert known for working with Johnny Depp, had allegedly been brought in specifically to handle what they called the Blake situation. The messages showed discussions about planting negative stories, manipulating social media, and using a tactic called astroturfing, making it look like public backlash against Blake was organic when it was actually being engineered behind the scenes. One text, allegedly, showed Nathan writing about their ability to bury anyone they discussed targeting, Blake's past controversies, amplifying negative narratives, and turning public opinion against her during the film's release. And it worked, at least partially. Social media exploded with criticism of Blake during the It Ends With Us tour, with many accusing her of being tone deaf about domestic violence. What seemed like a genuine public reaction might have been carefully manufactured, but there was more. Recent court filings revealed that Baldoni's team had been using Signal, an app that auto-deletes messages, to communicate about the campaign. They allegedly sent voice memos and used other methods to avoid leaving a paper trail. When Blake's lawyers demanded this evidence during discovery, much of it was already gone. This suggested they knew what they were doing could come back to haunt them, and they were trying to cover their tracks. The fallout from these allegations was immediate and devastating. Within hours of Blake filing her initial complaint, WME, one of Hollywood's most powerful talent agencies, dropped Baldoni as a client. This was the same agency that represents Blake and Ryan Reynolds, and Baldoni's lawsuit claimed Reynolds had pressured them to cut him loose. WME denied this emphatically, but the damage was done. Baldoni lost 3 major projects almost overnight. Industry insiders estimated the financial hit at hundreds of millions of dollars in lost future earnings. His live-action Pac-Man movie, which he was developing through his Wayfarer Studios, suddenly had an uncertain future. Other projects quietly disappeared from development slates. Experts predicted his career would nosedive, not because he was guilty, but because Hollywood studios now saw him as a risk. Even if all the allegations turned out to be false, the association with this level of scandal makes someone virtually untouchable in an industry that's already risk-averse. And then there was Ryan Reynolds, the wild card in all of this. Baldoni's countersuit made explosive claims about Reynolds' involvement. According to the filing, Blake had summoned Baldoni to their New York City penthouse in January 2024, the day before filming was set to resume after industry strikes. What happened in that meeting became a major point of contention. Baldoni claimed Reynolds launched into what he described as a traumatic verbal assault, accusing him of fat-shaming Blake and demanding an apology. The fat-shaming allegation stemmed from Baldoni asking a trainer how much Blake weighed because he had back problems and was worried about a lifting scene. But according to Baldoni, this inquiry was twisted into something malicious. He said Reynolds became enraged, berating him in front of other people coming in and out of the penthouse, and that Blake threatened to quit the production entirely unless things went her way. Blake's side told a completely different story. They said the meeting was necessary to address genuine concerns about a hostile work environment, and that Reynolds was there simply as her chosen representative. Reynolds' power in Hollywood can't be overstated. As one of the industry's biggest stars and a producer with massive influence, his opinion carries weight. Baldoni's lawsuit suggested Reynolds use that influence to pressure WME into dropping him, though the agency firmly denied it. Still, the implication was clear. Crossing Blake meant crossing Ryan, and crossing Ryan meant potential career destruction. Then came June 2025, and the first major legal setback for Baldoni. Judge Louis Lyman reviewed the case and made a decisive ruling. Baldoni's defamation claims couldn't proceed because Blake's harassment allegations were protected under California law. Specifically, the state's AB 933, enacted after the Me Too movement, shields survivors who report harassment from being sued for defamation. The judge found that Baldoni hadn't shown Blake, or anyone in her camp, acted with serious doubts about the truth of her statements. The dismissal was comprehensive. The judge threw out claims of extortion, defamation, and false light invasion of privacy. But he didn't close the door completely. He gave Baldoni until June 23rd to file an amended complaint. offering him a chance to fix the legal deficiencies and try again. For a few weeks, it seemed like Baldoni might take that opportunity. His lawyer even suggested publicly that an amended filing was coming, but June 23rd came and went. No amended complaint was filed. Weeks turned into months, and the deadline was long past. On October 17th, Judge Lyman sent out a notice to all parties, asking why he shouldn't enter a final judgment to permanently close the case. Blake's team was the only one to respond. They asked the judge to finalize the dismissal while keeping their request for legal fees active, essentially saying, "We want this over, and we want Baldoni to pay for putting us through it." And then came the final blow. On November 1st, 2025, Judge Lyman entered his final ruling. The case was over. Baldoni's $400 million countersuit, the legal action that was supposed to vindicate him, expose Blake's lies, and restore his reputation, was dead. No more amendments, no more chances to revise the complaint. Done. Blake's legal team immediately issued a statement celebrating what they called a total victory and complete vindication. They didn't hold back, calling the lawsuit a sham that the court saw right through from day one. They made it clear they'd be seeking attorney's fees, treble damages, and punitive damages against Baldoni and his team for what they characterized as abusive litigation designed to silence a harassment victim. Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, tried to spin it differently. He insisted no deadline was missed, claiming they made a strategic decision not to amend the complaint in order to preserve Baldoni's right to appeal. But the court documents tell a different story. The deadline passed, no filing was made, and the judge moved forward with finality. Whether it was strategy or defeat, the result was the same. Baldoni's countersuit was finished, but here's where it gets even more interesting. While Baldoni's lawsuit is dead, Blake's original case is very much alive. Her harassment and retaliation lawsuit against Baldoni, Wayfarer Studios, and his PR team is still moving forward, and it's scheduled to go to trial in March 2026. That means this entire saga is far from over. The allegations, the text messages, the deleted Signal conversations, the behind-the-scenes footage, all of it will be laid out in a courtroom for everyone to see. Recent developments have only made things more complicated. A judge also dismissed Blake's claims against Jed Wallace, a Texas-based social media operative she alleged was hired to weaponize online attacks against her. The dismissal was jurisdictional. The judge said there wasn't enough connection to New York to hear the case there, though Blake could potentially refile in Texas. Wallace himself has filed his own defamation lawsuit against Blake, adding yet another layer to this legal maze. Meanwhile, both Blake and Justin are dealing with the court of public opinion, which might be even harsher than any judge. Social media sentiment around both of them has tanked. Analysis of posts across platforms showed negative sentiment jumping dramatically after the lawsuits were filed. For Blake, negative posts increased 29 percentage points to 61% in the immediate aftermath of her complaint. For Baldoni, his initially positive reputation flipped to 63% negative. The irony is brutal. If Baldoni's team really did orchestrate a smear campaign against Blake, it might have backfired by making both of them look bad. And if Blake's allegations prove true in court, Baldoni's career may never recover. But if doubts emerge about her claims, she could face a backlash that damages everything she's built. Right now, both of them are stuck in a nightmare scenario where nobody wins. What's certain is that this November ruling represents a massive loss for Justin Baldoni. His attempt to fight back through the courts has been shut down decisively. His $400 million claim, intended to prove he was the victim of extortion and lies, has been dismissed as legally insufficient. While he retains the technical right to appeal, appeals are expensive, time-consuming, and rarely successful. Most importantly, the narrative has shifted. He's no longer on offense. He's playing defense. And as March 2026 approaches, the stakes couldn't be higher. Blake's trial will force both sides to present evidence, call witnesses, and lay everything out in public. The deleted messages, if they can be recovered, might prove there was a coordinated campaign. The behind-the-scenes dynamics on set will be examined in detail, and the truth, whatever it is, will have consequences that ripple through Hollywood for years to come. This case has become about more than just two actors in a movie. It's about power, accountability, and what happens when someone speaks up about alleged harassment in an industry that's still grappling with its Me Too reckoning. It's about the weapons people use to fight back, PR campaigns, legal warfare, social media manipulation, and it's about whether justice can actually be served when both sides have the resources to wage total war. For now, Justin Baldoni has taken a major hit, losing his countersuit and watching his career prospects crumble. But Blake Lively isn't celebrating yet. She still has to prove her case in court, and the pressure is enormous. Both of them are trapped in a battle neither can afford to lose, and March 2026 will determine who's left standing when the dust finally settles.